to another California Guy video with your boy California Guy. What's up, everybody, and welcome to this all new video. And I'm going to speak on a couple of topics today. One is, should black people forgive white racists? And getting deeper into your culture. Now, as of late, I've been looking at different YouTube videos, reading different articles. Shout out to New Possibilities and Cynthia G because they had the topics rolling, and I've looked at their videos. If you guys check out their videos on the topic, but I'm gonna offer my own insight on what they're saying. Should black people forgive their tormentors? I feel I look at the Jewish race, Jewish people, and you look at Holocaust survivors, and when you see the Holocaust survivors, they have punished, along with the United States government and the Western government, they have punished their oppressors, which was the Nazis. They punished them. They spoke out against them, even up to today, presently. They make sure they're held accountable. I've never seen a Holocaust survivor hug a ex-Nazi. Never have. And you've had a lot of ex-Nazis who has escaped to the United States. And, excuse me, a lot of ex-Nazis, they escaped to the United States and they got clemency. Some Nazis have became scientists for the United States government, CIA agents in some cases, different things like that. Operation Paperclip, so yeah, different things like that. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But forgiving people who do you harm, and I've said about forgiveness, it's one thing to forgive people, but doing public outreach, forgiving people, public outreach, not fighting for other outside justice, not fighting for justice, but you're saying you just forgive and then you move on. The shooting in South Carolina was one example, and I mentioned in my video that we should forgive, but then you should ask for justice at the same time, too. You should ask for justice and ways to fight. The problem with the African American people is we don't want to fight for what's ours and fight for our respect and our equality, whereas other races have fought for it. You know, Jewish people have fought for it. Who else have fought for it? Hispanics have fought it, and you can see that today. Hispanics don't sit up here begging Minutemen to forgive them. They don't beg Minutemen and pile around with Minutemen, but black people do. We have done charities for police officers that were racist, and I'm not saying to oust them, but you have to make a statement sometimes that you're tired of the bullshit. You forgive once, but then you don't keep forgiving your oppressors. Now, the reason why I say that, because we have a history of oppression and still do in the United States. One is we've been dominated by systematic white supremacy ever since black people was stolen away from their lands and brought on the boats. We never, we were told that we should forgive the atrocities that was committed towards the African American people. And we have, but then at the same time we've gotten killed. A lot of our women have gotten raped. A lot of black men had their dignity taken away from them. And they were told to forgive and forget. Today's society, modern day America, is keeping certain values alive by saying that black people should forgive. They're trying to use the old tactic, but black people won't tell their oppressors that you didn't, your ancestors, your forefathers didn't want to forgive either, and black people still got killed. Certain laws were still being put in place, but you have coons and whites and idiotic blacks who are keep doing this forgiving shit, but then at the same time getting slapped in their face. I say that we fight because that's the goal that we should pursue is fighting. A lot of coons would tell you that fighting is not the answer, but we should fight for our rights. We should fight for our businesses. We should fight for our women. Black men should die for their women, by the way. I think each black man should die for their females. And the reason why I say that your wife and your daughter is the most important thing to a black man. It should be looked at as precious. So I think that a black man should of give their life for their woman and their child and their family because they're the most important thing. Malcolm X taught that. You know, you give your life because you're under a rule of systematic oppression and a systematic racism that's going on in the United States, and um, we failed to recognize that. Some of us, anyway. Some black people need their eyes open. That you live in a system of white supremacy. You don't control nothing. You don't control the education you have. You don't control your life. You don't control buildings. You are a slave to master. And a lot of you guys fail to forget that. And it's time to break the chains. One is by not forgiving your oppressors or your killers or your tormentors. I'm not talking about a regular Caucasian person who doesn't do anything that's not racist. I'm talking about your actual tormentors. When I seen black people teaming up with police officers this past summer, and yeah, black pastors, it was sad because they weren't making no statement. All they proved was that you were everything that they say you were: race baiters, making up of shit, and you have rights. See, black people fed into that shit instead of fighting for their rights, saying no, I will not hug police officers. I'm not going to sit in church with cops that's doing bad things to me and to my community. They're not patrolling the communities like they're supposed to. We want the same rights as everybody else. You're supposed to be American, as they all want to keep saying, but you're not getting the equal justice and the equal treatment that you deserve. And you deserve your treatment. And by making statements by standing next to police officers and kissing their ass, it's not a statement to be made. That's like me being with a Klansman and I'm pounding around with them, and I'm pounding around with the Klansmen, and I'm gonna shake their hand and have pizza with them, and then not say shit, and say, okay, this, you punched me in my other jaw, and you punched me in another one. We got to stop this weakness that we do. We have to stop this weakness, and we fail to not recognize the weakness of supporting people who don't have your best interests at heart. And these are the people who torment you, keep you from excuse me, owning stuff. They keep you from education. They keep you from voting sometimes. Sometimes they try to, and these are, and what I'm saying is not my imagination. A lot of African American individuals, they would look at this video and they would say, hey, because I make a few grammatical errors maybe, they'll say that my whole message is wrong. But see, these are fool Negroes. These fool Negroes, they live in a fantasy land, candy land. They live in a world where they got this fake equality. They think they own something. They think they're on the same level as they oppressors, and they're not on the same level as their oppressors. In fact, they're below their oppressors. They're nothing to them. They're low. We are the lowest race of people in the United States. These are facts. We are low. We are last. We're the poorest in this country. African Americans is the poorest people in the United States. We're the least most people to get killed by police and, sorry to say, by the hands of other black individuals at times. So when you hear this baloney that you need to forgive, and it's really sad. It's really sad. That's not a solution to ask for forgiveness. The solution is for justice. Solution is for you to have the same rights as everybody else. The solution is to be on the same level as your oppressor, even. And you guys preach this hogwash, this coon logic, where you're not on the same level, you're above it, but you are. You're living in the matrix, basically. You have to wake up because a lot of you guys live in this matrix, and really you live in this systematic white supremacy, where you're dominant by a class of individuals and the ideology that dictates and control your life. They give you fake education. They tell you to go to college. You're not really getting an education. It don't mean nothing unless you get your own education. They tell you to work these jobs. It means nothing unless you have your own jobs. You should buy from your own people. But a lot of African American individuals are very cowardly. And I think that's another thing. Black people are the most cowardly race of people, modern day black people, mind you. Not the black people of the slavery days, not the black people of Martin Luther King days, not the black people of the early 80s, maybe early 90s. The modern day black people today in the United States is the most cowardly race of people that I've ever seen. Black men is letting black women lead the march against white supremacy, such as Black Lives Matters. So you have black women that's leading the charge. It should be black men leading the charge. Black men have been low for the last 10 years. And it's sad that we, as black men, are behind black females. Black men don't run anything, by the way. Black men are nothing, basically, in the United States. We are not leaders no more. And you got people that's like Dr. Umar that's trying to be a leader, or Tariq Nasheed, and you have black men simping, black simps, telling you not to follow those two black men. You have gay people, because to be honest with you, gays and um, black women and white women do not like those two black men. So they're under control, again, of white supremacy agendas. But that's another video for another time. So black men can't even get leadership skills no more because black women have taken over. And so we look like some sidekicks in the United States, basically. We look like a bunch of sidekicks that's dumb and know nothing. And this is starting to be true. Black women have more power than the African American man. African American man has no power at all in the United States of America. Only thing a black man could do is talk shit, perhaps, and that's it, and get shot. That's it. That's all we could do. That's all we're good for. It's talking shit, getting shot, doing slave labor jobs. They tell you to go to college. College don't really do too much good because a lot of black men are still unemployed that go to college. So that the education part is even fucked up. So that's why I encourage black people to teach yourselves. Do not follow the white man's rule on what to do. But that's another issue for another time. But it goes back to forgiving your oppressors. You have all these issues going on, and black men, the weakness of a black man is forgiving their oppressors. Because black men are weak. Again, black people are the lowest in the United States. Black people are the poorest in the United States. Black people are the least successful in the United States. Black people don't own nothing. Black people don't own no businesses. Black people don't own, they just don't own nothing. They own nothing. You get a few, only thing we're good for in the United States is being athletes, rappers, authors, maybe author in a book. You may sometimes have a black lawyer once in a while, but like Johnny Cochran or a black doctor. You may have a black doctor or a black lawyer. You may get that, but we still have not achieved a goal. Our goal, and we're not competing with other races. Other races are over us. You have immigrants that's newly immigrants in the last 100 years come to the United States, and they achieve more under 10 years. And they don't forgive their oppressors. They stick to a goal. Latinos, they stick to their goal. They don't sit up here, they for immigration, they stand by immigration. I don't care if they're poor Mexicans or they're rich Mexicans, they all have a unifying message where you have blacks, we got some blacks that's rich, they are coons. You have blacks that's middle income, they might be in between. You have poor blacks, some may be coons, or you may have a rich black that's too scared to come out. So, we're the laughing stock of the United States. We're the laughing stock of the United States. We are the clowns that's on television forgiving our oppressors. And a lot of you guys will say, and I know what you guys are going to say, but that's going to respond. A lot of my enemies will respond to this video by saying, "Well, Kelly guy, you're saying white people over. It's the truth. These are facts." So anybody that wants to dispute this video, point out to me where black people could do shit. Point out to me where they're still not gaining. We're still the poorest people in the world globally. Point that to me. Me, I'm telling people to fight. Fight for your rights. Be like Malcolm and let's fight. Fight. That's what we need to do. We need to get off our asses and fight. Fight for what's ours. 2017 is coming and supremacy is now starting. Super supremacy is starting. So we need to start fighting for what we need. We need to start buying from our own. We need to support our own. We need to start teaching the young kids about their history and their cultural roots and how that being black is good. Again, once you start restoring that in the people, then we can start rising and being on the level of our oppressors and fighting. Because you want to be on the level of your oppressors. You want to be making money, owning companies. You want more, not some. You want the whole thing. See, Cali guy is a greedy man. I'm a greedy black man. I want it all. I don't want half. I want everything. I want us to be equal to Jews and Hispanics and all these other races. I want people to respect us more than we get. So that's all I say is respect. And that's going to be what we're going to start talking about is respect. But like and share this video, people. Peace out.